Hey everyone, and welcome into TexAgs Rewind presented by T-Mobile. They are a proud sponsor of this show and appreciate what they do. They want to remind you to visit T-Mobile.com/acrossamerica to learn more how you can get value and coverage with T-Mobile. As you can see, this is a real fitness house right now. Christian's doing his work behind me. He didn't have school today because he was taking care of some stuff, but he still got to work. He still got to get his soccer training in, his jumping. I can't even see you. There you are. There's Christian. Say hi, Christian. That's not a very good speaking. All right. Thanks. No, really. Yeah, your career in radio just may have ended right there, Christian. I love you, though. Hey, on the show today, we had a bank on it during the go hour. I'm banking on Wade Taylor coming back, having a big-time game. Also, Aggie baseball head coach Jim Schlossnagle on the show, getting ready for them to get started here next week. Can't wait for that around Aggieland. Richard Zane, who's probably not going to be partying this weekend for a birthday celebration that won't happen on Monday. And the big boss man, Billy Liucci, called us up, and we talked all things hoops and recruiting and NFL draft. It is TexAgs Rewind presented by T-Mobile. Now, I usually give you a warning that this is coming. Do you have something we can bank on?
Well, I'm banking on, and we can all bank on, this is going to be low-hanging fruit, that the Aggies are going to shoot a better percentage from three-point range when they go to Arkansas. I'm betting on a good or I'm banking on a really good performance from three-point range in a much better showing. And I'm going to crawl out on the limb and say in an A&M victory, even though Arkansas has held its last three SEC opponents under 60 points for the first time since 2015. So they're going to face – you also bank on A&M facing a much better Arkansas team than they beat here because Arkansas is finally starting to put it together.
I think that is a very good stat out there. So, Obi, I'm going to kind of borrow from that same thinking on my bank on it, and I'm going with Wade Taylor. I think he's going to have a bounce-back game. If you look at his last game, 3 of 10, but he was 0 for 4 from the three-point line. He had the 2 turnovers. He had 6 points overall. He's too talented. I'm banking he's going to go double figures in a very tight Aggie victory, taking 2 from Arkansas. Wade Taylor going to have 10 points, at least 10 points. He's going double digits.
Well, I hope to say they'll need that. They'll need it from good play from everybody. I think you can also bank on Andre Gordon having a bounce-back game. Andre struggled. He had a bad game. No way to sugarcoat it. He had a bad game against Kentucky, but he's a good basketball player. So he's a very conscientious guy. I think you can bank on Andre Gordon coming back and playing a much better basketball game.
It would be great to see that. Is Richard still there with
Yeah,
you
he's still there.
I'm here, David.
Hi, Richard.
Hi, Papi. Hola.
Almost passed.
I'm getting
Bien,
uncomfortable.
you too?
All this Spanish.
Okay, that's all my Spanish.
Are you wearing a members-only jacket from 1986?
No, this is my Patagonia because it's cold.
It is cold outside, buddy. Hey, thanks for coming in. Hey, why don't you hang out like a lot of the show since this Wi-Fi has been not so good for me? How about that?
I will be here. I'll always be around, David.
It is great to interact with the fans, get the fans out there to watch what the new team is going to look like, and because I know fan engagement is very important to you.
Yeah, obviously we want to win a national title, but one thing that's my primary goal is to build a program that's super relevant in the community. And I know I'm new to Texas A&M and Bryan College Station, and I know it's already very relevant, but I would really like to grow that, and I believe that Texas A&M shouldn't be averaging 6,000 or 7,000 fans a game. They should be averaging, some big weekends later in the spring when you have warm weather and a big SEC opponent. We need to build a ballpark that seats, 12 to 15,000 people and create that atmosphere that is out there among the other outstanding SEC West schools. And so the only, the way to do that is, number one, you have to build a ballpark that's big enough. Number two, you have to have a team that's good enough in weather and opponent, but you also have to have a relationship with the community. And I think that's important for the coach and staff and players and not just the guys, but the ladies as well. And it's all encompassing. And, I was at Tulane for 8 years in the 90s when Coach Burtman was winning 5 national championships in 10 years at LSU. And so I was, pretty close to watching how he not just built a winning program, but built a program that was, it was the thing to do in the spring in the Baton Rouge area. And I just want to continue to grow that here.
So let's get right into it, Richard, shall we?
All right, around Aggieland, obviously, I think Wednesday was a big day in Bryan College Station. Number 12 Kentucky was here. Unfortunately, Buzz Williams and company saw their 8-game winning streak come to an end as they fell to the Wildcats 64-58 in front of a record crowd of 14,036 people at Reed Arena. An awesome atmosphere at the Holler House on the Brazos, too, as some people are referring to Reed. A&M just 1 of 22 from three-point land. That's a 4.5% average if you're keeping track at home. Henry Coleman was the only Aggie to reach double figures. He scored 17 points to go along with 8 rebounds in the loss. A&M's now 15-3 overall, 4-1 in the Southeastern Conference, and they'll look to get back on track on Saturday evening. They travel to Fayetteville to face Eric Musselman and the Arkansas Razorbacks for the second time this year. Tip-off is scheduled for 7:30 p.m. Central Time. That'll be televised on the SEC Network. Of course, the Aggies already defeated the Hogs once this year back on January the 8th, 86-81 right there at Reed Arena. On the women's side, things still not going well for Gary Blair and company. They dropped their 5th SEC game of the year already last night, falling to Ole Miss 80-63. Kayla Wells had a team high 14 points. A&M losing the turnover battle in this one 17-6. Ole Miss dominated them, but the Aggies will look to get back on track. On Sunday, they'll travel to Columbia. They'll face the Missouri Tigers, a 5 p.m. tip-off on the SEC Network as well. Track and field news. Lamara Diston and Kennedy Wade earned SEC weekly honors for their performances in the Ted Nelson Invitational. Diston was named the SEC Women's Field Athlete of the Week after a personal indoor best and meet record clearance of 6 feet 2 inches in the high jump. Wade was named the co-freshman of the week after winning the 400 meter with a time of 54:26. Texas A&M track and field back in action again this weekend. They're running in the Texas Aggie Invitational on Saturday across the street at the Gillum Indoor Stadium. The meet begins at 1:30 on Saturday, and it'll be streamed live on the SEC Network. Plus, you've got HBU, New Orleans, Northwestern State, SAM, TCU, UTA, and UTSA also competing in that meet. Number 19, Texas A&M men's tennis opened up their season on Wednesday afternoon with a 5-2 win over Arizona State. They'll return to action next weekend when they host the ITA kickoff weekend at the Mitchell Tennis Center. A&M will host number 25, TCU UCLA, final answer, on Saturday for a 2 p.m. first serve, and then they'll face either Texas Tech or Arizona on Sunday. Women's tennis is currently sitting at 2-0. The number 19 ranked Aggies will be back for a Saturday afternoon doubleheader tomorrow at the Mitchell Tennis Center. They'll face UH at noon tomorrow. That match not televised, before facing Texas State at 4 p.m. tomorrow afternoon, also not televised. And then, David, for the first time in over a month and a half, both the Texas A&M men's and women's swimming and diving teams will return to the pool. They'll face LSU on Saturday at the LSU Natatorium in Baton Rouge. That meet beginning at 11 a.m. Central Time, also not televised. As I said, haven't competed in over a month. The men last swam on December the 3rd against Incarnate Word. The women against Rice on December the 4th. So that'll be exciting for them to get back to action.
Thank you, Richard. Appreciate your time, buddy. And it makes me, I ask this because people are listening. They know. Where's there an indoor pool?
The indoor pool in College Station?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we got it.
It's at the rec center. That's where A&M does their home meets.
No, I'm just saying for like me, if I wanted to go train.
Oh, probably the rec center.
We've had a lot of draft guys on the last couple of weeks. The Draft Network, they've been great, offering us a bunch of their scouts, and they're obviously very high on A&M players going into the draft. I think the last couple of guys we've had say, yes, Isaiah Spiller's our number one. The last guy we had, Sanchez, can't remember the first name, but Mr. Sanchez said that he had DeMarvin as, a top 5 pick. And we've got really high praise for A&M players. But then you look at Pro Football Focus, and Olin's the one who brought this to my attention. Not one Aggie in their most recent mock draft going in the first round. Not to bag on them for too long, but pretty much everything I've seen has both Kenyon and DeMarvin, not only in the first round, but anywhere in that, 8 to 16, 22 range.
Yeah, and I saw Kuiper had Marv at the very bottom of the first. Marv's an interesting one because I've seen him across the board a lot. I think people are getting confused a little with Marvin, where I think his sophomore tape looks better than his junior tape. But if I'm not mistaken, I'd be willing to bet a lot of money that they moved him around more his junior year, and I'd be willing to bet he spent a lot more time inside as a junior without Bobby Brown there where he was as a sophomore. And I think that plays into it some. And then I also think there was a case with a few of these guys, and this is something that as a program, Jimbo's got to look at and be like, okay, what do I got to do? I felt like there were some of these older guys that they played and they showed up to play and they brought it. But a lot of times, you know, I don't know if you just see the same, these juniors have to play, right? I mean, some people are. You see like Stingley and these guys that opt out. But, you know, DeMarvin Leal is one of those guys that could have come out after his sophomore year and been a first-round pick. So I do think there's something to be said for, like, you know, they don't really feel like they can opt out. It's a whole nother year. A&M clearly had a lot to play for heading into the season. But I think that's part of the reason, too, or if you look at there's just maybe that little more sense of urgency the sophomore season. These guys, it's like in these bowl games, and nobody wants to go out there and get hurt. It's the changing days and ways of college football. And I think if you go watch his sophomore tape, that's what you're getting in the draft. But I think people are reading into that, trying to figure out what's what. I think the biggest thing, though, I could be wrong. I haven't done this research. I just watched the game. And I think he played inside a lot more this season, a lot higher percentage of his snaps than he did the previous year. So I think when the dust settles, Marv I would be surprised if he was outside the top 20. And as for Kenyon, this is a guy that in the day and age, I think he might have even played in the bowl had there been a bowl game. I mean, he was out there practicing. I think he would have played in the bowl game. And he would have been the only one of those guys entering the NFL that would have played. Like, I don't think, you know, Clemens would have. I don't think Tyree would have. He wasn't practicing. I think he was the only one. Leon had opted out. Marv, Weidemeyer, Spiller. But I think Kenyon would have played. And I think Kenyon, what he did this year for that football team, as a guy like Marv, like Spiller, like Weidemeyer, it was a very high pick no matter what. Oh, you need me to play right tackle? I'll play it. Okay, I'm back to guard. Good. I like this better. I'm back at guard. Oh, you need me to play right guard now? I'll do that too. Okay, left tackle against Alabama? Sure, no problem. Let's do it. Let's go beat them. I mean, if that doesn't help this guy's stock, I don't know what you're looking for in an offensive lineman.
All right, guys, that'll do it for TexAgs Rewind presented by T-Mobile. Got my bodyguard Christian behind me. He makes sure nobody messes with me or the dog. So I appreciate Christian hanging out here during the show. Want to remind you guys to like, subscribe, share, rate, review. What else, Dalton? Anything else I got to add? That'll
enjoy your weekend.
Dalton. Huh?
Enjoy your weekend, everybody.
Enjoy your weekend. I love Dalton. I love this show. Goodbye.